Hello everyone, welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we're going to stitch our first block in this amazing project, Enchanted Winter by Kimberbell. And today's block, we're going to be stitching this one right here, which is called Welcome Winter. That'll be a fun one to start with. So go ahead and grab your plastic pouch system that you've labeled Welcome Winter. Get all your notions and your batting, and let's head over to the embroidery machine and let's get started stitching. All right, we're at the machine and ready to get started stitching. So I have a brand new bobbin down below in my machine filled with white bobbin thread. I've also put white thread up on the top of my machine because when you get your folder out that's labeled Welcome Winter, the fabric that we're going to be using if you're using the kit is white with pretty little snowflakes on it. So I want to use white thread up on top to begin with. Probably all the way through, including the quilting, I think I'll do in white thread as well. So then get your Welcome Winter folder out that's got your fabric, as well as your piece of batting that is for this block, which is going to be the 6.5 by 12.5 inch block size that you cut. And I'm going to go ahead and take the fabric out of the pouch and make sure you've got a piece of the fusible backing on the back side of this, whether it's a Palon 860 or an SF 101. That will help support the stitches in this block. All right, so I'm going to put that off to one side along with the batting, and now let's go to the screen and load the design. Okay, so let's go ahead and click the embroidery module. If you have something similar to a Baby Lock Destiny or a Brother Dream machine, you can follow along with these steps. Then I save all of my files on a flash drive. And I'm going to go to the Enchanted Winter subfolder that I've created. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the Quilting Designs first. I'm going to show you how to do the quilting on each block before we stitch out the main embroidery design. So I'm using Kimberbell's Quilting Designs that they have created for Enchanted Winter. And on this block, they are recommending that we use the plant design. And I have organized these designs in subfolders. So I'm going to go to my plant subfolder. Okay, in this design, we're going to be doing a 4x10 design, which is actually stitching out at 4.5 by 10.5. So I'm going to go to this design right here, which they've labeled 4x10, which in reality is 4.5 by 10.5. So the hoop that you're going to be using for this has to be able to stitch out a 4.5 inch by 10.5 inch. So your 6x10 hoop won't quite work. So I've put my 8 inch by 12 inch hoop on my machine for this block. That way it will stitch it out. That extra 1/2 inch that is stitched out by the quilting design causes it to not quite fit in your 6x10 hoop. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use this plant design that is 4x10. Again, it's going to stitch out 4.5 by 10.5. Click set. I don't have to do anything to it. Now I'm going to add the embroidery design on top of this. Now, if your machine can't add multiple files, don't worry. You're going to stitch this out first. Then you're going to come back and then you're going to load the embroidery design and stitch that. But if you're able to do this, it kind of saves a couple seconds. We're going to click add. And I'm going to go back to my flash drive. And then back to my Enchanted Winter folder. There it is. I'm going to go to the main project design, and I am looking for the design down here that's called Welcome Winter. Okay, it's called a 6x10. Again, this is without the quilting design that they're recommending. It's actually going to stitch out 3.18 by 7.12. But that's the size and the name of the file you're looking for. It's called 6 by 10. All right, so we want Welcome Winter. We don't have to do anything to it. It's automatically going to line this up and center it for me. Look at this. It's put it beautifully on top of that quilting design. Isn't that awesome? So again, we don't have to do anything to this. We're going to click Embroidery. And now we're ready to start stitching. Okay, so we're ready to start stitching. The first stitch that it's going to do is going to be a placement line where we're going to put the batting. So I've got white thread up on top and again a bobbin full of white thread down below. Let's put the foot down and let's stitch out the placement line for the batting. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put my batting down. Make sure you've got right side up. And some batting you can kind of tell the front and the back. This one I can. The back has the little nubbies on it. And the top is nice and smooth. So this is easy for me to tell. Some of them it's more difficult. But just make sure that you put the right side facing up. And then make sure you line up the batting so it covers all of that placement line. And don't worry if the batting has like little fold wrinkles and stuff from the package. It's not a big deal. All right. So once you've got your batting down, covering all of that placement line, we are going to put the foot down and tack down the batting. Here we go. I love how when it does that tack down line for the batting that it goes around twice. That gives it extra stitch down. So when we start to trim around this, which is the next step, we don't have to be super careful. We just need to be a little bit careful so that we don't nick both layers of the stitches. All right. So now we're going to take this over to a table. Don't ever trim on the machine because the hoop and everything could pop up and undo itself. So I always take the hoop off the machine, go to a table. Then I'm going to use a pair of curved scissors. See how curved they are? So that way when I'm trimming, the scissors are pointed upwards, not where it could accidentally poke down into the stabilizer and cut it. So a pair of curved scissors is really helpful for trimming this. And now we're going to trim away all of the excess batting from around all four sides of that stitch line. Again, just be careful not to nick both of those stitch lines. Just get as close as you can comfortably, and then I'll meet you right back here at the machine. Okay, so that is trimmed up. Now I've put the hoop back on the machine, and I'm going to re-thread my needle because it came out during the process. Oops, got a little loop. Always make sure you get your loops out because that loop will wrap itself around the foot and can then break a needle or cause damage to the foot and or the machine, which we don't want. So always get any loops out after you thread your needle. All right. So now we're going to stitch a placement line, which is going to show us where to put the fabric, which we kind of already know, but we're going to go ahead and do the process anyway. All right, here we go. Okay, so now we're just going to lay the fabric down and do just like we did with the batting, making sure it covers all of that placement line. Plus now we have an added bonus that we can actually feel the batting. So I can put my finger right on the edge of the batting and then kind of make sure that I've got the fabric centered around that edge of the batting with a little bit extra on all sides, and we're good. Okay. So now we're going to tack this fabric down with the next stitch, just like you saw me do with the batting. I don't tape my fabric down at this point. I will hold it and keep my fingers away from that moving needle If I need to get close, I'll use the stylus to hold it in place as the needle gets close. But I don't want to put my fingers anywhere near that moving needle, okay? So let's put the foot down and let's tack down this fabric. Okay, so that is tacked down nicely. I'm just using a piece of Scotch tape to get any potential little lint or fuzz that's in the body of the quilting area right here, so that none of that will get sewn into the quilting. All right, just keep a roll of Scotch tape by your machine. Keep it handy. Okay, so now we're going to do the quilting. This is the plant design, and I've decided to use white thread for my quilting because I want it to blend into the background, let the design on the fabric still be able to be seen, and I want the Welcome Winter, which is going to be on the top, to do the popping. That'll be the color explosion of the blue along with the little green and the purple for the plant. So all this quilting I want to do in white. You choose the color of thread you want to do your quilting in, because maybe you're not using the kit. Maybe you're using your own stash, and maybe you have purple background for this or a blue background for this, and you want your quilting to blend in. You're going to choose blue or purple thread, or maybe you want it to stand out. Maybe you want to do a darker purple and you want a white quilting and then like a lavender phrase, the Welcome Winter. That would be really pretty. So do what you want. This is the wonderful thing about machine embroidery, is we can design these in colors that speak to us. And that's one of the main reasons why I love machine embroidery, is because I can make it my own. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the foot down. We're going to stitch out the quilting. This is a 4-minute in real-time stitch out. I run my machine at about half speed. I'm in no hurry. Slow and steady wins the race. But I feel that helps stop some of the wear and tear on the machine, because the machine doesn't have to go as fast. Okay, so hopefully the internal parts will last a little bit longer. Okay, so let's put the foot down and let's enjoy the stitch out. Here we go. That is so pretty. I love Kimberbell's Quilting Designs. They just add so much character to these blocks. Just love it. Okay, so now I'm going to switch out to my next color, which is going to be what they call it here. They call it Thyme. It's labeled D. They have colors now with letters associated with them. And what I did with my thyme colored or thyme colored thread is I went a little brighter. I'm more of a bright fabrics, bright thread color person. So I went a little bit brighter because that's my style. So just get out your thyme colored thread. It's just going to be some sort of a green because we're going to stitch out a little plant or like a little leaf section, a little accent on this block. So put your green colored thread that you've chosen in the top of your machine. Make sure there's no loops. And now we're going to stitch this out. This is a 2-minute in real-time stitch out. Put your foot down and here we go. Very nice. Okay, so the next color thread we're going to put in our machine is the lavender. And I believe, let's check the name that they have for this. They call it amethyst. Okay, it's color F. Okay, color F is the amethyst. So I'm going to put that on the top of the machine. And always make sure you pull your thread going straight down. This is the natural thread path of the machine. So you want to make sure you always pull down. Never pull it back up because it's going against the natural path of the thread inside the machine. All right. It's a good habit to get into. Just always pull your old thread out. Okay. Keep your fingers away from the needle when it's moving and make sure you got your loop out. This is a 2-minute stitch out in real time, and it's going to give some accents or the berries on this leaf. And I got a little bit of the starter thread here I want to get off. There we go. All right, so ready? Let's stitch out the berries. All right, that is so pretty. All right, so now we're going to put in the next color, which is going to be blue. It's color number B, which they call marlin blue. I've got kind of a royal blue for my color blue, so that's what I've chosen. So get your blue color thread out, or whatever color you have picked for your letters that are going to say welcome winter. It's also going to do little accents on the berries first before we get to the lettering. So there's 2 steps. First one will be the berry accent, and then the next step will be the lettering. So the first step is only a 1-minute stitch out. Got my needle threaded. I got a loop. Get that loop out. All right, so let's stitch out the accents on the berries. Okay, there's a thread here that I want to get. That was the starter thread. Get that out of there. Okay, that looks good. Oh, there's a little one here. There we go. Okay, so put the hoop gently back on the machine. Now we're going to stitch out the words welcome winter. I've got the blue thread still up on the top of the machine, and that's what I'm going to stitch mine out. Either leave your blue thread in, if that's what the color you want your welcome winter words to be, or switch it up to lavender or green or aqua, whatever color you would like your lettering to be. Put that thread up on the top of the machine and load it up, put the foot down, and we're going to stitch out the words welcome winter. This is a 21-minute in real-time stitch out. All right, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, my machine's making a little bit of noise. So I'm not going to rock the boat here. I am going to rethread the machine. Because that didn't sound right. So when it makes that noise, I'm sitting right here listening, enjoying the process. I can stop the machine real quick. And I'm going to rethread it, and then I'm going to check the bobbin down below too. Okay, that looked all right. Let's check the bobbin. And when in doubt, I'm going to rethread that as well. And whoops, get that up and over the loop. Okay. Put the hoop gently back on the machine. There we go. And now I'm going to back this up with the plus and minus key. And I'm going to go back 10 stitches. That should do it. Click OK. And go back to the machine. Okay, now let's put the foot down. And let's continue on and see if that stopped the noise the machine was making. Yep. Sounds good. Okay, we're back in business. It's still making noises that I am not happy with. So, I did just replace the needle. I can see the tiniest little bent. So I'm going to give it another new needle. Sometimes it's just not worth having the potential here. And it is bent. I don't know whether you can see it, but it is slightly bent. So that was what was causing the issue. Somehow it got bent, and it's not even an hour old, so it's okay. That's why we have needles, packs of them. Is this gone? That's empty. All right. I have more. Always have a stash of needles on hand. And if you notice, I always also have something underneath the needle when I'm replacing it, because I don't want this to fall down into the bottom of the machine. So I just leave the hoop on nice and tight so that it does not go into the bottom of the machine, which would mean a trip to the machine doctor. All right, here we go. I'm going to do the plus and minus. I'm going to go back 10. I'm going to go back 20 this time and click OK. All right, so everything is good. Don't worry about the jump stitches. We'll fix those at the end. All right, so let's go ahead and start this up again. All right, that turned out really pretty. Look at that. Let's see if I can turn it on its side here. Not really in the hoop. That's okay. Look at that. That's cool. Now we've got some little jump stitches, which I will take care of when I go over to the table. So isn't that cool? Look at that. Woohoo! Okay, so go ahead and take the block out of the hoop. Let's go over to the table and I will show you how to finish up those jump stitches and how to finish up the block. Okay, we're at the table and we have this beautiful block. I just love the way it's stitched out. What we're going to do first is we're going to take care of these jump stitches. My machine will pretty much take care of the jump stitches, but if it's in the digitizing to skip a jump stitch, then it will give me a jump stitch. So there's a couple here that we need to take care of just between the E, and I have a really sharp pair of scissors, so I want to be very careful. And I don't nick any other threads in either the embroidery design or the quilting. Just want to get that jump thread. And it looks like we got one here above the L. So just want to clean this up just a little bit. Very, very carefully. There we go. If the thread is long enough to hold it, I'll do that because I'll get a cleaner cut. And then come back a little bit closer. These are Kai scissors and they're very, very sharp, which is great, but then I also have to be careful not to accidentally nick any of the stitches. You know what I mean? Got one more here between the C and the O. Trim this out in editing. There we go. There we go. So that looks good, all right? So put those up. So now we're ready to trim off the stabilizer and cut this block to size. Okay, we want the block to be 10.5 inches across by 4.5 inches high. And if I take my ruler and I measure on the outer stitch line, the line that we use to tack down the fabric, I'm looking at this and it's just a little bit bigger than 4.5. So we're good there. And let's look at this one. And it's a little bit bigger than 10.5. So I'm going to use that outer stitch line as my guide, but I'm going to trim about 1/16 of an inch to the outside of it because it's about 1/8 of an inch shy of being where it needs to be. So 1/16 on each side will get us right where we need to go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off some of this excess stabilizer, go to the outside of the fabric and get that out of the way. Makes it a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so then now I'm going to put my ruler right on that stitch line, and then I want to go 1/16 past that, just like that. All right, double check it, and we're going to go ahead and cut it. You don't have to cut this excess off. I tend to do it because it gives me a little bit more of a mental notice. Okay, I've got the excess off now. I got to focus on trimming that up. It's just like coming over here. Just trim off the excess. And it's like, okay, now I can focus. Now I need to go to that outer stitch line. And then I want to go 1/16 of an inch past it. Just like that. Double check it. And away we go. Whoops. Ha! Took the whole block with me on that one. Yeah, this one wasn't quite cut down here. And it took the whole block with it. Okay. So now I can double check. I want that to be 10.5 inches. And we're 10.5 inches. All right, we're good. Now, mind you, if you're off just a smidgen, it's okay. This is the goal, is to get the block squared to 10.5 by 4.5, so it'll be easier to assemble the quilt when we're done. Okay, but if you're off 1/16, no one's gonna know. All right, so I'm on that stitch line. I want to go 1/16 of an inch past it to right there, and then trim that up. Make sure I don't take the whole block with me. And then if you want to double check it, go to the edge of the fabric. Yep, that's where I need to be. So then I'm going to go to that stitch line, and I'm going to go 1/16 past it. All right, and then trim it up. Easy peasy, right? It's just a matter of getting it so that your measurement, in fact, I'm just a hair bigger than 4.5. I'm just a hair bigger. So I'm going to come back here and trim that off just a little bit. Just a little hair there. And now let's look at it. Okay, a little hair on this side. So it was actually, I cut a little bit more than 1/16, which is okay. I'm going to take a little bit more of this one. Look, I mean, we're just talking a fraction. All right. And now we should be good. Now we're at 4.5 by 10.5. Now we're good. So we just have this little bit to trim off. So that's basically how you trim it up. All right, so what do you think? You did it. Congratulations, you have finished the Welcome Winter block. All right, well, I hope you had as much fun today making this block as I have. And I hope you stay tuned here on Jolly Molly TV for more fun. And in the next video, we will make the next block in this adorable project, Enchanted Winter by Kimberbell. And until next time, take care and happy stitching. Bye-bye.